Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my Forever Young interview series. And today I have the guru of all gurus, David Wolfe, in my hot seat today. I am so excited to interview him. I've been looking forward to this interview. He has over 20 years in the health industry, has done over 2,500 live lectures, so we have a great wealth of knowledge in front of us, so take really good notes. Hey, David, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. This is exciting. Super glad to be doing this with you. And we're going to jump right into some great stuff today, and it's going to be the best ever.
Well, let's start with finding out as much as we can about David. First and foremost, he's in Kauai, so anyone that wants to visit him, that's where you're going to have to go, which we can all line up and do. So tell me, David, how did you get into this industry? What pulled you this direction?
Well, I think it started when I was a kid. I first came to California from New York and New Jersey when I was 7 years old. So my mom's actually from Tehran, and my dad's from Brooklyn. And so they met in medical school. So I'm actually the son of two medical doctors. And we lived in Seaside Heights, New Jersey, which you might remember or recall is the spot where the Jersey Shore TV show is filmed. But I was there first. Anyway, so we came from there, and, I just, it was like Jersey, my God, it's like refineries and, all the stuff that goes on in Jersey. So we came to California in 1977. My uncle got transferred from St. Louis to San Diego, and he had a farm. He bought a farm way out in East San Diego, and we started planting fruit trees. And that's where it started for me. That summer when we planted fruit trees is the first time I really became connected to growing things, and I became subtly connected to the California Venice Beach, fitness, food, kind of avant-garde reality. And it developed from there. I remember seeing Jack LaLanne on the Merv Griffin show in the 70s. I was probably at my uncle's house. And I remember seeing him on TV, and I remember thinking, that's me one day. I'm not that, the fitness guy who could do push-ups, sideways. I remember he was doing that on the show where he would lift himself up, like it's called flagpoles, where you go completely sideways and you do a push-up like that. A lot of b-boys and dancer friends of mine can do that. But I thought, that's it for me. And that's where it all started. And then we moved to California in 1980 and grew up in that Southern California surf culture. That's where I kind of came from. And then eventually got deeper and deeper into growing food, spreading the message, raw foods, superfoods, herbalism. And inevitably that brought me to Hawaii because California is great and Hawaii is better.
Couldn't agree. Nothing wrong with that. So you are a bestseller of many, many books out there. And I recommend our audience to look into one of your books called Eating for Beauty, which hits a lot of what we're talking about today. And your latest one is Longevity Now. So what can we expect from that book?
Longevity Now is the summation of a body of research that I originally had started doing about a commonality amongst all age-related conditions, and that's called calcification. I have a copy of Longevity Now actually here, so I can show that to you guys. There it is right there. And I get into the whole thing about calcification, what causes it, how to prevent it. For example, I don't recommend ever taking calcium supplements because that can actually speed up calcification. I talk about the role of silica, for example, in this book, and silica as a beauty mineral and how your body can convert silica into calcium, which is totally illegal according to conventional science, but has been, in fact, proven for over 200 years of scientific research. It just doesn't fit into the current paradigm, so it's kind of like we got to get rid of it. But silica is a very important beauty mineral. It's for great skin, hair, nails, and bones. And what's actually happening at the enzymatic level of the bone structure is the silica gets converted to calcium. So, all of those kinds of ideas are in here. And it was one of those books that, like, I kept throwing it back to my publisher going, it's not ready, it's not right. And they kept coming back. They're like, no, it's close. I'm telling you you're close. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, finally we went back and forth. Finally I was like, oh my God, it is there. It's there. So this is the thing about a book, when you get to that last hurdle and it's there, it's like suddenly a relief. Mm-hmm. And I never felt a relief, I think, like this book where it was really organizationally challenging and then finally it all came together.
So where does silica come from?
Silica is found in the skins of cucumbers. It's found in the skins of bell peppers. It's what gives the shine to cucumbers and bell peppers and tomatoes. It's found in certain herbs or herbs, depending on where you're listening from. And one of those great herbs is nettles. We've been consuming here in Hawaii the mamaki, which is like the local nettle up here in the hills. That's a high silica content herb. Horsetail is another herb high in silica. Hemp leaf is really high in silica. We're going to see the introduction of a huge amount of hemp leaf products in America now that hemp growing has been legalized in many of the states of America. And you'll find silica in, for example, chocolate contains a relatively high amount of silica. You find silica in young plants, not necessarily mature plants, but young plants will have high amount of silica, like sprouts.
So the best way to get silica into our diet is to eat exactly what you just described, or is there a supplement or a shortcut?
There are great supplements. There's great silica supplements out there. I'm a fan of the company Flora. You may have seen Flora in a lot of the health food stores. In fact, the rep for Las Vegas, where you live, Paul, is an old friend of mine. He reps Flora products there, and they have a great, it's called Vegetal Silica is the name of the product, and it's a tremendous beauty product, and to me it's really bone, nails, skin, and hair. So that's kind of a shortcut. It's a horsetail extract. Or you could just go right to, to those herbs and make tea yourself, which is kind of, that's kind of where I'm at because I like making tea.
Nothing wrong with that. So as this, especially aging and calcium absorption and our bones start to deteriorate and things of that nature, us women kind of take that as our vanity kicks in when our hair doesn't grow like it used to and our nails and we don't feel as good. So that's a great suggestion. What else is in that wonderful longevity book? Anything else that we need to know?
Well, yeah, and eating for beauty as well. Another really important mineral is sulfur to keep us young. And so I've been a fan of MSM, methyl sulfonylmethane, MSM, for almost 20 years. And when people really take MSM, and it's available in every health food store has it, it's on every website out there. When people start taking MSM in like a significant dose, like 2,500 milligrams a day, and I'd recommend actually working your way up to 2,500 milligrams a day, then get up to about 5,000 milligrams a day, 2,500 in the morning, 2,500 in the evening. In fact, I've got MSM in my water right here. That's when you start to notice like, whoa, I feel more flexible. It's a very powerful anti-inflammatory, and it's what basically makes the tissue juicy so the wrinkles don't form. I mean, it has very strong anti-aging qualities. And so sulfur was a major part of my Eating for Beauty book. It's a major part of this book because in this book I get into the antagonistic role of sulfur and calcium. And when I say calcium, I'm talking about bad calcium. The type of calcium you don't want in your body, like plaque, kidney stones, that kind of stuff. So sulfur is antagonistic to calcification problems.
Gosh, this is good stuff. Okay, we're just hitting all the S words: silica, sulfur. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Keep going through the alphabet. So what else can we do to look more beautiful?
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm a big fan of polysaccharides as a type of grouping of foods or ingredient or nutrient to look for in foods. For example, aloe vera is really rich in polysaccharides. And when you're living in the desert like you're living in, you really have to make sure your tissue stays hydrated and your skin doesn't dry out from the outside in. So we want to nourish it both topically and internally. And we're even in Hawaii, we grow a huge amount of aloe vera here. That gel, especially the fresh gel. I mean, there's some great aloe vera products out there. Aloe vera gel products out there that are already bottled, but they're missing something, and we now believe it's a particular enzyme that's only available in the fresh material, and it's an antifungal enzyme that's available in the fresh material. So we actually put that into our smoothies here. That gel, we'll just take a section like that big and blend it into stuff. I blend it into orange juice. I love orange juice. I grew up on orange juice. Some people are like, it's too much sugar, but for me, I love it. So I'll blend it into orange juice and just drink it. Some people can blend it into whatever smoothie they're making or NutriBlast they're making. But I want to mention this. Topically, If you take aloe and you put it on any area of your body and leave it there, so not just rub it like that and it's done, but actually like, boom, leave it there for like an hour, that's where the magic happens. That's where you wake up the next morning and you're like, what has gone on with my skin? Like, it's younger, feels better. You can really see the difference. So the secret of aloe vera is to take the fresh material and leave it on your skin. And let's say you leave it on there for 25 minutes and suddenly it's dried up. Just take your fingernail, a little knife, and just dice it up a little bit and then put it back on so more of the gel comes out and bleeds on. Just leave it there. That's where that you want an instant facelift, that's the way to do it.
Nice. I'm totally getting an aloe plant.
We just decided to get one here, and then that turned into 20. Now we have about 50. And they're on right now. I mean, I was in the garden yesterday. I planted a papaya right in between 3 aloe plants, and I was like, damn, this aloe is on right now. I need to like harvest this stuff. So as soon as we're done, I'm heading down there to get some.
Wonderful. Sounds like the life. Perfect. So, aloe, got it all down. What else can we do?
Okay, so those polysaccharides that I've been talking about are found also in goji berries and actually all berries. I'm a big fan of berries, like raspberries and blueberries and blackberries. In fact, my feeling is that group of plants, the berries, are the healthiest foods for humankind. That's if you look at any herbal system, like Chinese medicine, you'll see in the top 5 things, number 1 and 2, or in the top 5 for sure, is goji berry and schizandra berry. You look into Ayurvedic medicine, you'll see amalaki, which is the amla berry. You look into Amazonian shamanism, you'll see that the camu berry is right there. You look into Native American, Northwestern Native American herbology, and you'll see the salal berry is in there. Is their number 1 thing, actually. So it's always a berry, or 2 berries in that top 5. And that's because they're great fiber. The colors, right? Those color pigments are really important for beauty because that's what gives you color and richness of like depth of coloring in your skin. And actually, we know now that that's what protects your brain and your eyes from damage over your lifetime. And then the polysaccharides are also present, which is part of the fiber, like pectin. You ever heard of pectin, like in apples and pears? Mm-hmm. It's also in blueberries and raspberries. That's actually a polysaccharide. So these are really gentle, hydrating types of compounds. As soon as they touch the skin cells on top of you or touch the skin cells in your digestive tract that coat your whole digestive tract, that's where you get that. It's almost like an instant healing hydration effect. And going, even beyond that, the polysaccharides also are immunological. They actually can assist your immune system in creating more immunological weaponry. Other sources of polysaccharides, by the way, include the medicinal mushrooms, of which the king and the queen are. The king is shaga and the queen is reishi. So, here's a little piece. I got a little piece of shaga right here. This is, I wrote a book on this particular mushroom right here. That's a little piece of it right there. And it's rich in beta-glucans, which is a polysaccharide, and it's immunological. It's one of the great herbs in the world.
You're so good with show and tell.
I wonder what other kind of goodies I have around here. I've got quite a few things on my desktop here. Here's something for you. Not rich in polysaccharides, but definitely one of the best things ever, vanilla. Those are vanilla beans stuffed into this container right there. Mm-hmm. And as soon as I just opened that, the aroma filled the room. This is one of the great female essences in nature, right? Vanilla is it. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited about vanilla right now because our vanilla orchids that we have all around this property here finally started flowering, and I've got 9 baby vanillas growing.
Oh.
That's the best news ever. And let me just show you, just for the folks who've never seen actually a vanilla pod, that's a vanilla pod right there.
Yeah, we just see it at the end after somebody's tortured it to death in some type of processing.
Yeah, or put it, in like a vanilla extract or something.
Right. That's as good as it gets. You get to see the process portion.
This is just...
If only we had smell-o-vision.
Ooh, that's coming, right? They're going to add smell to Skype.
That's right. Only. Very cool. Well, since we're talking about cool stuff, you have this huge thing on raw chocolate, and I've been dying to talk about it. First and foremost, what the heck is raw chocolate?
Okay, raw chocolate is actually, first of all, chocolate is a nut. It's the most widely eaten nut in the world that nobody actually eats.
Mm.
So imagine your whole life, Carrie. Your whole life you've been like, okay, I've had almond powder, I've had almond oil, I've had almond butter, and then suddenly one day somebody comes up to you and goes, oh, boom, here's an almond. That's what's going on with chocolate right now. Chocolate is a nut. It's the most widely eaten nut in the world that nobody eats. This is what the real raw nut looks like. That's the nut right there. Now watch this. Watch the color of this.
Ah, secret ingredient.
See that purple?
It is purple.
So that is that, you know, the purple flame of Saint Germain, the alchemical purple. That's the real color of chocolate. When this thing sprouts, it turns brown. So all the brown chocolate that we've seen is all fermented, or basically the cacao bean thinks it's sprouting, so it turns brown, and then it dies because there's just a whole bunch of cacao beans piled on top of each other in the jungle. This isn't a bean, by the way, it's a nut. So even though we say cocoa beans or cacao beans, they're really nuts botanically. So this is raw chocolate. That's the rawest form of chocolate ever right there. And it's really good. This is so good right here.
So I was going to ask, what does it taste like?
It's the best. Actually, I am going to make it a point to get you some. It is the best thing ever. You'll eat it and you'll be like, what the heck is this? This is like, it's one of those things that when I first had it, I couldn't believe what it was, and that no one had ever told me about this, and that no one knows. This is the most loved food in the whole world. It's chocolate, and nobody has it. I mean, look at this. You want to see something interesting? See, these are the things you find out. I had a vision 10 years ago when I was in Amsterdam. This guy, I was talking to a guy who owns one of those, like, you know, coffee shops, hash bar kind of places. And he said, oh, yeah, one day I'm just going to retire from this. I'm going to buy a chocolate farm. And I went, what did you say? I said, I'm going to buy a chocolate farm. And I was like, it just had never crossed my mind ever that I could actually go have a chocolate farm. So for since 2006, we planted cacao here from seed, and we grew it all the way to this. And I'm going to show you something that I found out being a chocolate farmer. We call these the umbilical cords. This is in the middle of all the cacao beans in the fruit. And these are the most delicious candies ever.
Wow. Who knew?
Wow. So you just find out all kinds of amazing stuff like that, you know, playing around with. It's one of the greatest foods in the world. It's chocolate. So it's got a lot of secrets yet still to be told. And it's number one longevity food. All the longest lived people in the world are chocolate eaters. And what does that mean? It means that chocolate has that longevity has something to do with happiness. Because chocolate's happy food.
Yes,
you know, it's part of the happy food group.
Great. I have to educate my kid on the happy food group. We missed that one this whole time.
I know. It's like we got to, you know, this other stuff, like eat all this bread. It's like, I'm not going to eat that white bread or whatever that stuff is. But chocolate, we never got that happy food group there. So now we can add that in.
Perfect. I think that guy caught you when you learned you could grow something. That seems to be the common denominator in you. Coming from trees to aloe to orchids, you got everything growing over there.
It's amazing. We grow noni, we grow cacao. Basically, here's the idea, and this is what I love to pass on to everybody. You know, you pick the things you like. Let's say, like Carrie, you're like, you know what, this aloe vera thing sounds really good. You should grow it, because then you have an infinite supply. But there's something intangible or something that you learn by growing it. It's a connection or something that really is it's like a sacred connection in your life. It's like a spiritual connection to the source energy. And so it helps you to be more connected to life and to growth and to the magic of living. And this to me is like, I think one of the it's like an underlying problem of civilization, which is we become disconnected from nature.
You're right. I think that's what was the key thing. You mentioned before, growing fruit trees at first for you was kind of a spiritual probably connection to, hey, I can grow my own food. It's like magic.
Yeah, and I felt that kinship with plants. Plants are never going to judge you. They're pure love, really. I mean, they will respond to your love. And, you know, I'll go out of my way, like I just this morning went out of my way to just pour a whole bunch of herbs and goodies, and we call it compost tea, up on one of my cacao trees up over here that just, you know, it was having a little bit of a problem. You know, had a little, like something was wrong with the leaves or something. And just giving it that extra love, that's what it takes for it to overcome those little, those little infections or whatever's going on with it.
Very cool. So back to chocolate for a minute. You actually say it's a weight loss aphrodisiac. Is that true or is that a myth?
Well, chocolate is the number one aphrodisiac food in the world, but chocolate has always been a weight loss food. And I want to mention that. Now, this is it in the days before sugar.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, in its intrinsic nature of what it is. Chocolate is so nutritious that it kills your appetite. I mean, that's what we were told when we were kids. I'm sure you heard that from your parents, as I did from mine. Don't eat chocolate, it's going to kill your appetite. Right? You don't eat chocolate before dinner because it's going to kill your appetite.
Right.
Why is that? Well, the reason is because it's so rich in magnesium, iron, chromium, manganese, zinc, copper, phosphorus. It's like every mineral that we need to be healthy and that fights off stress is in chocolate. And so if you eat chocolate, your body goes, well, we actually don't need any food now because we got everything we need. And what we've really done with chocolate is we kind of went back, we stripped it back down to the cacao beans and then got connected to the original intent of chocolate, which is it's a delivery system for herbs. That's what chocolate is. It always has been that. I mean, for thousands of years in Native American history, that's the way it was used. So I'll take chocolate, for example, and mix it with cayenne pepper that we have here, a little bit of honey, and you eat that, and you talk about highs, natural highs. Whoa, right? That's like one of the great ones of all time. I'll mix, I have got, one of the great herbs down here growing. It's a tree. You can get it at any health food store. It's called pau d'arco or lapacho. It's one of the great beauty herbs in the world, by the way. It's a delicious tea. I'm in love with it, actually. I'm in love with it. I'm so in love with it. I've got 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 trees just around the house, but there's 2 down in the garden that are big. They're like the trunks like that big. And, it's antifungal. And when you take pau d'arco tea, which is delicious, and you blend it with cacao beans, little tiny bit of honey, maybe a little bit of almond butter, a little bit of maca, and you make like an herbal hot chocolate. It's like, that's what we have here every night. We have that here at my house every night and actually every morning too. Like that's what I have well, it's in the other room now, but I have a goblet, and in that goblet, it's like herbal hot chocolates every day. We got the tea going downstairs. We got all spring water. We make the tea up, and then we blend it in with superfoods like cacao. It's the best.
Awesome. That's beautiful. See, nobody thinks outside the box. They just go to the grocery store and get what the media tells them to buy and call it a day. And they're missing out on all of this great information. So,
And flavors. These are, when you eat pau d'arco or lapacho, it's delicious. Everybody thinks it's delicious. I feed it to people and I'm like, this is good. It's way better than green tea or black tea or coffee or just by flavor. And then it's way better for you, obviously, than those things. So that's part of this revolution, and that's part of my message is you can actually deliciously save yourself.
I like that. Have fun doing it at the same time. It doesn't have to be painful to be healthy.
Exactly.
I know. Most people do kind of feel like, ooh, organic. Oh, it's a bad word. Or natural. Is it going to taste like anything worth tasting? And no, it's not like that. It's a lot more sexy than that. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, that's the aphrodisiac idea too. It's like, and aphrodisiacs work. There's all kinds of amazing aphrodisiacs in nature. And yeah, I definitely feel like if we had more aphrodisiacs in our diet, this planet would be a lot better. Right? It would be a lot more fun to be on the planet. So you can't really find that out by like kind of the normal discourse of what goes on in media. But fortunately, through a summit like what you're doing and what's happening with the internet, you can find out. Check it out for yourself and then feel it.
Right. I'm sure our audience is Googling every word you've said so far.
Pau d'arco, by the way, is PAU space D''ARCO.
Oh gosh, they would have never found it.
It's a hard one to figure out the spelling on that one.
Oh, no kidding. Your face shows up in the Google search. Oh, David.
Yeah, some of these, I've been such an avatar for some of these herbs over the years that actually does happen. I've looked up stuff where I was like, God, I wonder, I got to just check up on that fact, you know what I mean, or whatever it was I said about something, and I just got to make sure that's actually correct. Then I Google it, and I come up. I'm like, well, I can't verify that against myself. It doesn't. I got to look. It's got to come from something else.
It's a full circle effect. What's going on here? That's awesome. Well, you've been around a while doing this, so it's going to happen. We're all following your path. So, on to your other ventures. You have an online magazine called thebestdayever.com, which is really cool. I love the title because that's what I say every morning. Today is the best day ever. I'm like, that's really his online magazine? Perfect. But you have a mission to plant 18 billion fruit trees. When did you guys start that?
We started that in 2002. I was just with our nonprofit organization over on the Big Island of Hawaii. We have a headquarters there. We also have a headquarters in Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh. And we do projects all over the world. We did a project in El Salvador. We're doing a project in Uganda. We've done projects in Kenya. We've done projects in Brazil. We've done projects all over North America. We've done projects in Iceland. And what we do is we plant fruit trees and medicinal trees and nut trees in areas where literally people are starving, in places like Native American reservations. Like we did one in the Dakotas, the highest suicide rate in North America. And we contacted them and they contacted us. We had a nice dialogue going and they're like, I think your project could help us. And we created a Hope Orchard. It's called the Hope Orchard and it's in a medicine wheel. So it's a gigantic medicine wheel in the earth. If you look at it from an airplane, it's a big old wheel. And the idea there is to connect the kids of the tribe to the trees so that they have this connection to source and they don't end up committing suicide. So that's been a tremendously miraculous enterprise for these last 14 years, last 12 years. And I couldn't even say, the Fruit Tree Planting Foundation, ftpf.org is one of the most amazing things. It's the most amazing thing going on in my life for sure. And thebestdayever.com, because you mentioned that, is basically what we did is I had so much stuff that had accumulated over so many years of like lectures, talks on horsetail and nettles, talks on, how do you get your iron and manganese and all this stuff from natural foods and, just all this kind of thing that I eventually thought, I got to put this into some kind of a resource. And we created an online magazine. So it's like a subscription model. And it's been going for 14 years. I think we're the longest running subscription website on the internet, actually, at this point. It's called thebestdayever.com. And once you get on that site, you have access to 100 gigabytes of information. I mean, it is just, it's extensive. Anything, you're like, I need to know the best natural sources of manganese. And boom, there's a video of me talking about manganese, which, by the way, is iron's little brother. And chocolate is a very good source of manganese. So are seaweeds. And you need both iron and manganese in order to have healthy blood and carry blood oxygen. So it's not just iron that's required. It's iron and manganese. And both of them need to be considered.
So we have access to your brain by getting on here, basically.
And not just me. It's also other doctors that I've worked with over the years and, all kinds of folks. And also it's interactive. So it's a culture. It's a couple thousand people, and you can, let's say you're dealing with MS or something like that. You can talk to other people who are dealing with it in very innovative ways. Because what happens is on the healing journey is, let's say you have a condition, you start out and it's like you start getting better. You're like, wow, I'm getting better. And then you get deeper. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You start going, well, maybe I can tweak this a little bit more. Maybe I can accelerate a little bit more. That's kind of where the Best Day Ever comes in. It allows you to kind of dial into the very specific stuff. But you can't just jump into that kind of specificity immediately. First thing you need to do is like, okay, we got to eat vegetables.
Right.
You got to start there, and then we'll go.
Master one thing at a time.
One thing at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah, it's like health is very much like peeling an onion. You start someplace and just keep going through the layers. Absolutely. But I love that you brought on the healing journey, because there's so many people on the audience and people that have contacted me personally that are on that journey, that have MS or fibromyalgia or whatever code word the medical field is using today to describe something they don't know how to cure. Is basically how it works.
That's well said.
To put it nicely, for me anyway. But overall, give some hope to our potential audience and those that are listening to this interview of where to start. You mentioned vegetables, because I know you're speaking the language that I understand, but some people in our audience, really, this could be their first time ever being exposed to natural health. So tell us, where's the best place to start?
One of the best things to do, and this is something we've worked out over literally the experience of millions of people at this point, and that's NutriBlasting. I'm the spokesperson and the co-developer of the NutriBullet blender. You ever seen that on TV, or it's
Yes.
in Bed Bath and Beyond? It's in Costco and Walmart. It's everywhere now. And one of the things that we put together, and this is something I developed over 20 years of live experience, is like how are we going to meet the people right where they're at who just starting? And what we recommend there is two things. One is get organic produce and take 3, 4, 5 pieces of fruits and vegetables, put it in coconut water, put it in that thing, and blend that thing up, or NutriBlast it once a day for 6 weeks. That's it. You'll find that that's so easy to do. You'll end up doing like 2 or 3 a day is what ends up happening. And I'm sure you're probably on a similar type of thing. And then you just watch how you just let nature take its course. You don't try to, the whole thing about trying too hard is also a big problem. You don't need to try with all your might. Just let nature take its course, get out of the way, put the right things in, get out of the way, stay hydrated, get out of the way, and let nature do what it does best, which is heal you.
I love it. I love it. And you start to crave more, and you see how convenient that was.
And then you start to have a real discernment of what makes you feel good and what doesn't. And that's the thing. See, here's another thing. This is a very strong discovery of the last 20 years. And that is we need culturally to completely get away from the idea of pointing at the problems.
Yeah.
And start pointing at the solutions, because whatever we point at amplifies and grows. Where our attention goes, energy flows. And because of that kind of little insight that had been installed in my mind 20 years ago studying success information, that has led to the transformation of millions of people's lives through the NutriBullet system, because we don't sit there and tell you, you can't have that, and don't eat this, and that's wrong, and that's right. That's the worst thing ever. I hate that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a very strong word. I don't even like to use the word hate, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Let's look at what's good and what's great and what's awesome, and let's just focus on what we can add in and let nature take its course. You know what I mean? Let's just let the momentum of that just do what it does naturally.
I like that perspective, because even I remember when I first ventured into natural health a little over 10 years ago, I didn't want to hear what was bad. I felt guilty. I felt bad. Like, what? I'm a bad mom. I've been bringing this into my house this whole time. Shame on me. And you do. The guilt doesn't make this fun. So you got to make it more, definitely more positive. So right now, everything we hear about is GMOs. That's the latest thing. And now every marketing, piece on every food out there is just eating this up by putting no GMOs on their labeling. So that's another example of negativity, obviously, that the media is jumping into. There's lots of other options out there too. So I like your perspective better. You mentioned coconut water, and I have to bring up coconut oil. Good Lord, I've never seen so much stuff about coconut oil my whole life until just recently. And I just took a bath in it last night, so I love it. But what's your thoughts on coconut oil? It's like the be-all, end-all right now.
It is. I mean, I'm deep into coconut oil because I was the first person actually in America, and I was the first person to put raw organic coconut oil on the internet.
Ah, it's your fault.
It's my fault, really. And I've been in it for a long time, and now it's every major supplement company and health food store company has their own little coconut oil brand. But I remember before that even existed, and this is the thing about these oils. Coconut oil, olive oil, and cacao butter or chocolate oil have a history. They've been around for thousands of years, and so they're very, very safe because they're time tested and time proven. And what we say about coconut oil is that, well, first of all, to ingest it, it's great, a source of saturated fat, which is actually the most important type of fat. You can get saturated fat from all different kinds of sources. I'd recommend getting it from chocolate and coconut oil more than, say, like beef.
Yeah.
Because, all these animals are sponges for all these toxins we've dumped into the environment, which by my best guess and my best estimation over all these years, I've calculated out it to be about 77,000 synthetic chemicals we've dumped into the environment since 1940.
Oh.
Right. So this is the 800-pound pink elephant that's sitting in the room. It's like, what's the epidemic of cancer really caused by? Maybe it has something to do with this unbelievable amount of toxicity that we've dumped into the environment. So we have to be careful now more than ever before about what we eat, because it can expose us to more of these toxins. And when it comes to saturated fat, which is an essential nutrient, then we need to go to things like coconut oil or chocolate oil, or we can go to raw organic butter, but only raw organic butter, because non-organic butter is loaded with pesticide residues, as the research shows. But anyway, coconut oil is used topically in 3 different places. First of all, it's your bathroom, your kitchen, and your bedroom. So I'm going to let people kind of figure that one out. I can't fill
You don't have
in
any
the
show
blanks
and
for you.
oh, I was gonna say, you can have a show and tell moment again.
Yeah, I could get some coconut oil out, but I'm not going to show you what to do with it right here. I don't know if that might make it on the internet and could have some reverberations.
We want to go viral. What's wrong with that? That's a good thing.
Actually, yeah, coconut oil and olive oil are very antiviral, actually. Just since you brought that up, which is good to know about. So these things actually, especially coconut oil, is making. Well, actually, when you mix coconut oil with cacao butter, 50-50, you melt them together and then let them solidify, and you use that in the bedroom. It's like
Score!
I don't know what people were doing before. That's how good it is. It's like whatever was going on before, that just it evaporates, and all of a sudden you're on that now.
That's right. That sounds awesome to me. Perfect. Yes, it makes bubble baths very fun too.
Yes.
In fact, I think I have more coconut oil in the bedroom area than in the kitchen, which shame on me. But anyway, it's all good. Very
It's
cool.
all good. Yeah.
So speaking of bedroom and sex, what's behind you? We just want to clarify quickly that that's not a sex swing behind you.
Okay, so this is not a sex swing, or at least isn't sold as one. You're talking about this right here?
Yes.
This is my yoga swing, and you can see it's got. If you look up there, you see it's got the springs. So it's like an upside down rebounder. And I can climb into this thing and get upside down and get my whole spine stretched out. It's really incredible. And one of the things I learned in yoga and in just healing in general is getting upside down. Getting upside down is a really powerful way to heal yourself. Now, when we stand up, we have to use up adrenaline. We have to use up noradrenaline. We have to use all the androstenedione. These are the chemicals we secrete out of our adrenals that allow us to stand upright, which is unique. Like a dog doesn't stand upright. They can't. For us to be elevated this high and to stand up actually takes a lot of energy as compared to most other creatures. So our adrenal and kidney system is very different from every other creature. As soon as you lay down or get your legs up, you reverse that. All of a sudden your body goes, oh God, we don't need to stand up anymore. And you can accelerate healing. The yogis call it an inversion. So if you look at yoga, for example, downward dog, where your hips are above your heart, that's an inversion. Shoulder stand, hips are above the heart, that's an inversion. Headstand, hips are above the heart, that's an inversion. You look at all the great poses in yoga, they're all inversions. And so that's taking advantage of this is what this does, takes advantage of that kind of concept to get inverted. And this is very important if you have varicose veins. It's very important if you're suffering from chronic fatigue. As soon as you get that adrenaline shut off by just laying down or getting your legs up, and then you get back up again, you have more energy. I do a lot of handstands, for example, before I'll go on stage, because all of a sudden, boom, it just suddenly the energy is there. And this whole thing about healing through inversions also gets you into this concept, which is almost all back injuries are caused by compression. Where there's been a compression, even if there's torsion where something's like this, if you just stretch it out, it'll all come back into alignment. So lower back injuries, central back injuries, neck injuries can all be very well dealt with this type of system right over here.
I love it. So how long do you spend in there?
I try to get in there for at least 5 minutes a day. Sometimes I'll do 15 minutes a day. It just depends on how much time I have. I'm usually on the go, but I'll make a pact. I'll say, okay, I'm not leaving my room until I get in there. I've got to just kind of keep that as a habit, and I'm working that as a habit.
See, well, I was going to say, for some reason, I'm picturing you passing out in there too long. Uh-oh, he was in there too long. Darn it, we got to revive him. Can that happen? Too much blood rushing to your head. Is there any problems with that?
There is. So when you're new to this, you have to be careful because you're not used to it. So all of a sudden you got all this blood in your thyroid, all this blood in your brain, which is also a derivative benefit. You're getting more blood in your brain. This has been shown, by the way, if you want better brain health, The
Hmm.
more blood you have in your brain, more oxygen in your brain, the healthier your neurological chemistry is. But it can be too much. So generally what we recommend for this is to get in for 10 seconds, 15 seconds upside down, and then boom, come out, and then work your way in again. And I have to actually do that. If I'm on a long trip or I haven't been here in a while, and then I come back, I need to work my way back up again to longer periods of time being in this.
So 5 minutes is really a long time.
It's really a long time,
Yeah.
a lot longer than you think, actually. And it's amazing, though. When you come out of there after 5 minutes, you're like, ooh, that was good.
Well,
So,
the blood's finally back in your head where it
yeah,
belongs.
exactly. Exactly.
So if we see you doing handstands right before a speaking event, we'll know why.
Yeah, if you see me like backstage and you're like, what's going on back there?
You should just come out on stage walking on your hands. Just for
I've never been able to do that, but that is one of my goals. Is I'm gonna get to that point in my life where it's yoga. That's the thing I love about yoga is you can incrementally make improvements, and all of a sudden you're able to do things that you never thought you could do before.
Right. It's magic. Perfect.
Magic.
Well, I want to start to conclude a little bit of your wealth of knowledge for our audience today. You have some wonderful stuff to share with us. Share that with me and us.
Okay, what we did is we had put together something really cool for you, Carrie, and your group. And we took about 38 hours of our longevity conference, as well as a superfood DVD, superfood beginner guides, a whole recording on the joints, sleeping. We put a whole information pack together, which all told and all together is like 41 hours of material. Yeah, it's in depth. And it's normally, probably $500 worth of stuff and then another $100 worth of superfoods. And we took that almost $600 worth of stuff, boom, and we chunked it down to $97
Nice.
for you and your crew. And that's really thanks to Angela Hartman, who's been my business partner for many, many years. She put that together for you guys, and I just okayed it. I was like, okay. But you'll receive it, and if you want to get that, it's $97. And this is my guarantee to you, that you've never actually had that kind of value ever for anything you've ever bought in your life, ever. That's my guarantee, which means you will get more information, you'll be more entertained, you'll be more empowered by that 38, 40 hours, 41 hours of material than just that alone, life-changing information of all. It's all the entire longevity conferences, every presentation. 2 different conferences, and then on top of that, the sleep DVD or the sleep MP3, the joint MP3, and then the superfoods. So we're throwing in maca, cacao, goji, chia, our vanilla shake, and also our asparagus root, asparagus root is a super powerful, especially for women, super powerful herb, and actually tastes good. It's one of the things I grow here, actually. It's one of those things I was like, tastes like gummy bears.
No way.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like, that's what I say when I'm going through customs. They're like, what do you have? I'm like, oh, I just have these gummy bears. And they're like, okay. And it's actually really asparagus root. It's hilarious. Look, I'm really going to say, oh, I just have asparagus root. They'd probably tackle me and arrest me at that point.
It's a drug. We know it's a drug.
It's a drug, right? So anyway, that's the superfood and super herb component that we put in there. So you get to try some of these things if you've never had them before. I think you'll particularly enjoy the goji berries. And then all of that information. And then the thing about that information I want to mention is that you watch it with your family. Like you said, you have a son?
I have a daughter, a 10-year-old daughter.
10-year-old daughter. Okay. So it's like something you guys sit down just like you're going to watch a movie, or just like you're going to sit down and watch Breaking Bad or whatever, whatever you guys normally do. And instead of just being entertainment, you're actually also learning something that will change your life forever. And we've seen that with families, because they come to the conferences later after they've gotten these downloads, and they've been like the little girls, they're like 5 years old, and they look at me and they think I'm like a movie star, because I've been on their screen. They've been watching these longevity conference downloads. So it's really cool and a lot of fun. And that's kind of how we want to bring the information to the future. Is we want to make it entertaining and educational. Yes. And you'll have 41 hours of that material.
Nice.
Just think about that.
Very nice. You're right. Education sticks when it is entertaining, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I'm just, again, really, really excited about these kids, like 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds, because they've already completely internalized the information and they're 5 years old. It's like, where are they going to be when they're 50? It's amazing. I mean, I was watching Gilligan's Island when I was 5 years old. I never got anything from that.
No. Don't get on a boat. You went to an island and you're stranded now. So yes, you did.
Yeah, maybe that picture of the SS Minnow in Honolulu Harbor did actually have some effect on some good effect, but it could have been more educational.
Right. I started my daughter very little. What's a big and strong food is kind of how we would label our foods, and we'd give them point systems and things like that. So she, calculate what her dinner had and didn't have, so on. So no, they need to know at a young age. Start them really young. So don't
That's awesome.
Turn into unhealthy adults that are unhappy. So that's the key. Well, wonderful. That's a very exciting package. $97 is nothing compared to what you're getting. That's beautiful. So that link is embodied into this email. I want to just kind of wrap up with any final thoughts that you have for our audience today.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, I think the summation of it all is that what we're going after here is the best day ever. What is really the summation of all success literature? What is the summation of prosperity? It's really a feeling. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you want to have an achievement? It's because of the feeling it's going to give you. And why not just jump right to that? And then, what's the final goal? Well, it's really have the best day ever. And so that's kind of what I wanted to throw out there as an affirmation for everybody, which is today is the best day ever. Try saying it. Watch what happens. You get up in the morning, as soon as you get your feet hit the ground, today is the best day ever. Today is the best day ever. How do I make today the best day ever? This is going to be the best day ever. I know I can make this the best day ever. And I have had, and the reason why I know this works is for 25 years I've been putting that out there, and I've had the most outrageous testimonials come back at me. People who just were like, there's no way, it doesn't work, it's BS. And they came back to me and they're like, look, I thought it was total BS, but I did it anyway, and look what happened. And I know from experience it works because I've had hundreds of people tell me exactly that. Totally skeptical. They tried it. It works.
It does work. Good affirmation. My personal coach has me saying, what would it take for this to be the best day yet? And that's how I wake up every morning. Just kind of a little, placing an order with the universe and bring it on.
Yes.
And then watch your day be awesome. So very cool, David. Well, you're the best. You made this the best day ever.
I know. You have too. You've been part of my best day ever. Thank you. It's been great to meet you. You got great character. You're beautiful. It's been super fun.
And I live right by your mom, so don't tell me where she lives or I'll tell on you.
She's great. She loves your little neighborhood over there. And I'll come visit you when I get to Las Vegas.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for being such a special part of our interview series. So
thank you so much. Super honored. Bye.